We all like to think we're in the driver's seat of our own lives, right? That we're making these smart, logical choices every day. But are we really? In this explainer, we're going to dive into the science that shows our brains are, well, less like perfect calculators and a lot more like something way more interesting and a lot more flawed. Let's get into it. So let's just start with a quick gut check here. Have you ever bought something, a gadget, maybe some clothes, that you absolutely 100% did not need? Or, hey, what about making a choice, knowing deep down it was not the best one for you? If you're nodding along right now, don't worry. You're not broken. You're just perfectly human. To really get why we do these things, we first have to look at this old, really powerful idea. See, for years and years, classical economists had this very specific and honestly very tidy little model for how we're all supposed to behave. This traditional view even gave us a nickname, the economic animal. And the whole idea behind it was that when we're faced with a choice, we act like these perfect machines. We're logical, we're precise, and we're totally unemotional, always weighing the pros and cons to pick the absolute best option for ourselves. Sounds nice, right? Yeah, the old way of thinking basically saw our brain not as this complex, messy, amazing organ, but as a perfect calculator. The idea was simple. You just punch in the data, and it spits out the most rational answer. Every single time. Simple, clean, and, as we now know, just completely wrong. Because, of course, reality tells a very, very different story. In the real world, that whole perfect calculator theory starts to show some pretty serious cracks. And this slide just lays it out so perfectly. Over here, you've got the theory, the economic animal, all logic, no emotion. But then on the other side, you have us, real humans. We're driven by emotions, we run on habits, and we are full of these hidden biases that pull our strings without us even realizing it. And here's the absolute truth of it. These things aren't glitches in our system. They are the system. Our feelings, our habits, they shape everything. I mean, think about it. Have you ever just stuck with the default option on something because it was easier? Yep, that's a bias at work. These aren't the exceptions. They are the rule for how we make decisions every single day. So if that old model is so wrong, what's the new one? Well, it turns out there's an entire field of science dedicated to understanding this messy, beautiful reality of human choice. And it's called behavioral economics. Its whole job is to dive right into those moments where our decisions go completely off that purely rational path. It looks at exactly how our emotions, our habits, and our mental shortcuts steer us in directions we didn't expect. Really, it's the science of why we buy that thing we don't need. Okay, look, this is all fascinating stuff, but let's get practical for a second. Why does understanding the difference between some theoretical economic animal and a real human actually matter to you in your day-to-day life? What's the real takeaway here? Well, the goal here isn't just to point out our mental flaws and say, you're irrational. It's about empowerment. Once you understand the hidden forces that are guiding your choices, you can actually start to take back some control and use that knowledge to your advantage. So who needs to know this stuff? Is it just for economists sitting in some ivory tower? No way. It's for you trying to stick to a budget. It's for a business manager trying to figure out what their customers really want. It's for anyone who makes decisions, which, last time I checked, is all of us. See, this knowledge gives us a simple 3-step playbook. First, you gotta understand the common mental traps, like how a limited time offer makes you feel this false sense of urgency. Second, get personal. Spot your own patterns. Are you an impulse shopper? Do you avoid making tough financial choices? And third, use that insight to change the game. Maybe that means unsubscribing from all those marketing emails or automating your savings so you don't even have to think about it. It's about setting yourself up for better outcomes. So, we've pulled back the curtain on the whole myth of the rational mind. We aren't perfect calculators. We are complex, emotional, and fascinatingly irrational humans. The goal isn't to become some perfect decision-making robot. It's just to understand the game your own mind is playing. So the real question is, now that you know the rules, how are you going to choose to play?